Hello, my name is Tobias Heiler and I'm one of the founders of BrainBoost. In this webinar, we will show you our multi-session analysis tool. With this tool, you can compare different sessions you did with a client. You can see how the training effect changed. You can see when you switched training protocols, also how that affected the training effect. You can also create reports, send it via email, print it out, export it as a PDF. There are so many more functions. Just play around with it and enjoy.
Today's webinar, as always, we have a lot of hardware connected to our software. If you guys know hardware manufacturers, and of course feel free to connect us to them, and we can see if we can connect even more hardware manufacturers to our software. So let's get started. Today, multi-session analysis. So the German webinar yesterday, a lot of people, and I think they got pretty excited, so let's get right into it. So what you guys know if you've been using the software is that we can interpret a single session already. So this stylistic, we can watch single sessions, seeing, for example, how was theta amplitude, how was high beta amplitude for a single session that we did. Usually when you guys see a single session, you will also be able to see segments. So this gives you pretty much a pretty good overview over certain behavior stuff that you can interpret. For example, Focus Master, okay, looks like a steady theta amplitude. Puzzle, oh, there was more theta, so maybe this was a little boring, or this was a little demanding maybe, and you got tired. And then Media Center, we watched a movie, so seems like, okay, better focus, more on point. So you can already interpret a lot by just taking a look at one single session. What else can we see in a single session? We can see, okay, a little bit more info. We can see the so-called training effect. Now I know the training effect sometimes makes sense, sometimes, well, it always makes sense, but you need to pay attention to what has been happening in the session. So let's say we've been doing a ZZ SMR focus training. So we wanted theta and alpha and high beta to go down, to decrease. So we wanted to inhibit it, and we wanted SMR to increase. So what the training effect tells you, and these are those numbers, is if they are positive, it means the amplitudes behave the way they were supposed to behave. So what does that mean? If we have a positive training effect, let's say here the media center, and it's a rather high number, this means, okay, well, theta, alpha, SMR, high beta, it's not super distinct to a certain parameter. It behaved the way I wanted it to go. So the higher this number is, the better the training effect is. So this means, yes, the brain understood theta go down, high beta, alpha go down, SMR go up. So a higher positive number means a better training effect. Now a negative training effect means the opposite. Maybe theta increased, maybe high beta increased. Of course, this gives you a first glance of what game maybe didn't at least work the way we wanted it to go, and what game or application did. Now, still be very careful. And this gives you an average here over all segments, and there's even more. There's more averages, like an average over the entire session if you take a closer look. Of course, this can be misleading maybe sometimes if you use a game that is very demanding or is maybe very boring, but you want to train the attention, then maybe the training effect looks negative because it is boring for your client, but you kind of want to train something that is boring. You know what I'm saying? So by only just looking at the training effect in one single session, in one moment, this can be a little misleading, but overall the training effect gives you a good idea. Did the training go the way it was, well, supposed to go, or we planned it to go? Now, so we can now analyze one single session. Well, why not, here we go, do this with multiple sessions? So why not do, and this, the blue now means an average amplitude. This is the approach that many people have or ask me for. Can't you just take one dot for the average theta of session 1, then 2, then 3, 5, 4, 5, 6, and then connect them? Or I can do this even for more sessions. But now what I would see here is that, okay, apparently one session we had a very high theta average amplitude. So I don't know, maybe the client was tired, maybe the client played boring games, maybe the client just was, spacing out and it didn't really work. So just showing, and this is where we said, well, we can't just throw out a multi-session analysis by just showing average values of theta, of high beta, of whatever graph you wanted. This would be, well, maybe effective, but also too simple. So now finally we released, or we will release next week or in 2 weeks, a multi-session analysis. And let's go. Let's take a look right into this. So you guys all know how to select the trainer profile, and let's use one example client. So what you guys have to do, of course, do sessions, sessions, and sessions. Then we can here in the top left go into the client. Now, what we see here is we see, okay, we played a game, we had a certain training protocol, and we could now go into show details to analyze a single session. But what is gonna be new with the next update is a session overview button here on the left side. This is new. So let's press it. What we see now is, and here I can scroll down a little bit, we see all the sessions we did. Yeah, pretty cool, right? All the sessions we did. And what info do we get? We see the trainer, okay, the date and the time, and we also see segments, amount of segments and artifacts, and of course, very important, the training protocol. So apparently here we did some CZ-SMR. I know it's German, sorry, but I think you get it. We see CZ-SMR, and then the latest versions, they were different. They were F3PZ. Now let's scroll down, ZZ-SMR, SMR. So apparently we did a lot of ZZ-SMR training, and then this was very old recording. So you see the updates of the BrainAssitant. They make sense, so please always do the updates, because we were able to save more info, the training protocol. Now, in order to analyze, we need to make a few adjustments. First of all, if you record with an ego device from ANT-Neuro, you want to use a reference P9, P10 if possible, so you don't have the default reference. Maybe on a cap it's on ZZ or something. So it's just interesting for people that use an ego device. So you can press this, then it will automatically re-reference. Now, before I come to automatically mark art, or I can come to automatically mark artifacts. What we see here is artifact 49, artifact 10, etc. And here 0000. I did this on purpose. So now you could click into a single session and then by hand mark single artifacts. But let's make this easier. There's one button and say automatically mark artifacts. I'm pressing it right now. So I'm not clicking or anything. Yes, it will take a little bit. These are 44 sessions, so of course, it takes a long time. Now the computer goes through every single session, analyzes and marks every single artifact. So this might take a little bit, maybe 1-2 minutes. In my case here, it should be over rather soon, because meanwhile we can talk about the next button, add segment, applications and games. Now if you have been using the BrainAssitant the last 2 months only, then you are used to starting an application like the Focus Master, and then in your raw EEG and your amplitudes in the background, there will be this bluish. Now we see here artifacts. Ah, nice. So it's finished. And then you will see, okay, the certain segments are with a blue background, and I can tell where I played Focus Master and where I played certain games, puzzle, etc. Back in the day, there was just accounting for certain applications you opened, but this didn't have an extra segment with it. If you just press this one, you're safe that it will recognize segments. And well, and also thing we see here in green, there's EEG recording, so it's not a training session, but an EEG recording. Now let's finally press continue. Come on, guys. Now it's calculating. So what do we see here? While it's calculating, I'll give you a brief overview. We can see the amount of sessions, 48 sessions. Out of these 48 sessions, there were 45 training sessions, average duration, 2 recording sessions, so qEEG sessions, and 1 is missing, notes. So sometimes we use the orange note button. This also counts as a session, but it's not relevant here. We also see the most used application was Media Center, then Dragon Bay, then NeuroRacer, and then, the next ones were not as, so we only show the 3 most popular ones. Let's take a look at the very first graph. We now see this is why I addressed this training effect. Training effect, we see here a lot of bars, and let's check out what do we actually see. Why are some so close together and some are whereas they're more apart. Now I can use, and please go by a mouse, a computer mouse. Don't use the trackpad on your laptop, because what we can do now, I'm scrolling, I'm using my mouse wheel, I'm scrolling in. Now, okay, I'm in the middle of something, so I can right click. With right click, I can reorientate myself. Let's just stick with this one here. Okay, we see here 4 different bars, and let's left click. It says session number 4 on the 4th of July 2023, application media center training effect. And then here we see, it's again session 4, training effect 1.1 with space adventure. So you might have guessed already, these are all segments, and the one that are close together is one single session. So in this case, session number 4. So the next here is session number 5, and then the individual segments. And up means positive training effect, down means negative training effect per segment. Now I want to zoom out, so I could use my mouse wheel again. It looks a little messy. Now there's another function on your mouse. It's a double click, and double click the mouse wheel. Yes, you can click a mouse wheel. Double click it, and now it rescales. So I zoom in, double click the mouse wheel, it rescales. Use this, use a mouse wheel. Also, what do we see here? We see a huge breakout, right? So I can left click and see, okay, application space adventure session 3, training effect minus 9.6. It kind of sticks out, except for this one maybe. Now, what we could do is go to the sessions and take a closer look. Was there maybe an artifact? Maybe did I write in a comment, today client wasn't in a good mood, bad sleep, change of medication? I cannot tell. Now we want to do a multi-session analysis, so maybe not waste too much time on going super individual. What I now can do is session 3, I don't like it. Go on sessions. Now go back to session overview. And let's go all the way down to session number 3. I'm left clicking once, and you see now I deselected it. Continue, and it's gone. So when I left click, it says training session 2, and here it says training session 4. So number 3 is missing. You cannot really tell here with the scale. So the scale is rather broad, so you can get rid of individual sessions. It's not here to manipulate, but if you have the feeling one session is simply not representative, or there's so many artifacts, even by filtering out, or there was such a special day, by not taking a medication, by having a breakdown, you can get rid of this if you feel like this is not representative. Of course, here you can see the average training effect, and you can see a trend, the arrow pointing down up a little bit. So the trend is that we have a positive training effect. I will come to this part because here at the end, it seems like the training effect is not really happening as positive as here. So apparently the first couple of sessions, we took a little bit of speeding up. Then we had a good run at around 20 sessions plus minus. And then it seems like the training effect kind of didn't really happen. And I will come to that part. So you can say add to report, and we will come to that later. Let's check out the next feature. We also see the relative amplitude. What does that mean? It doesn't mean the absolute amplitude, it means relative amplitude. Why? Well, on some days you use a different hair gel, you use shampoo, if you're a bold person, you can use sun blocker, and then all amplitudes are have less amplitude or more amplitude because the signals maybe, or you use different electrodes. So there can be a different signal quality from the amplitude level. So with the relative amplitude, we kind of level this out. Now what you can do here is clicking, for example, I don't want to see delta. Click it and then it goes away. Here it's in black, the color is black, so I can re-click it. Yes, we will improve this. So let's get rid of a few things. Now we might be, well, we might feel like let's zoom in. So I can use my mouse wheel again, but now right click still doesn't look pretty, right? So double click your mouse wheel. Now here on the left side, just use your cursor and then now use your mouse wheel. And you see now it scales, and now I can move this one, right click up or down, and it stays within the range of session 5 and session 38. Of course, I can double click and then, so this makes it more pretty to zoom in or out, just a different matter. And here left or right click to make this one look more pretty. So it's also possible now, and so I hopefully got this one. Why does it say ZZ? It shows you the 3 most used positions. So as I said, we used ZZ a lot, and then we switched to F3 PZ, so a combination protocol. Now ZZ or ZZ, I can now analyze and take a look at, okay, looks pretty, looks nice. So we can, of course, you can also use that graph and add to report. I will come to that. Now, here we see apparently, and let's left click, because you might have noticed, why does it say session 5? Well, first couple sessions, we might have used a different protocol. And here we see F3 session 1, then we never trained on F3. The next time we trained is on session 40. So of course, this doesn't look super pretty. There's a few ways to now take care of this. We can, and now here we go. Please remember this. You can click and hold the click on your mouse wheel. And you see this? I can now enlarge only this part. Might look better. And let's get rid of a few things here. Yeah, here we go. Looks maybe better, and then I can scroll with my mouse wheel. It looks even better. Double click my mouse wheel. Still, I kind of want to get rid of this. It doesn't look pretty. What you can now do is session. Hopefully we learned this already. Scroll down and say, you know what? Let's get rid of session number 1. Ton of artifacts. In the very first session, probably a person the first time on an hooked to an EEG, so probably not very experienced. You gotta not move, please. Continue. It's reloading. Voila. Now we have this. It resets, so we can kind of here have to reorientate it a little bit. Okay, fair enough. So we took care of that. So you can also, as I said, press and hold your mouse wheel, or you can play around a little bit with the scale using a mouse wheel and right clicking and holding your right mouse click, and then make sure you have a nice view. So we have the 3 most prominent positions and relative amplitude. Next, and here this also looks nice. We see here on a time scale the central SMR training, because we got rid of the first, right? Remember, I threw it out, so it kind of starts with the central SMR training. So here, central SMR training, I can see an overview of that, and these are the bar values. So let's for now say, well, why bar values? Why don't you say it's amplitudes? Well, sometimes you have a theta beta ratio or alpha asymmetry quotient. So this will also display ratios. And of course, ratios, they're not very high. They can be 1.1, 3.2. So it's not just amplitudes, it's bar values. And you see here, okay, it shows you an average. So the average of theta. And it shows you standard deviation, not of any z-scores of different populations. It shows you the ±1 standard deviation of the average value. So if I kind of think here, this should be around 15. Perfect. You see here it says theta 15, and then this ±3. So this will probably be, here you go, 18, and then lower will be less. Yes, so not 12 exactly, but this gives you the info how much SDs ±1 did the client have. Of course, you can also get rid of certain certain values, and then we see. So we can also say add to report, sure, why not? And then we see, okay, we trained a different protocol after here a certain time, so that's why it's here. Again, your mouse wheel, click it and hold your mouse wheel, and then you see, nice, it zoomed in. So this gives you also different information than the relative amplitude, gives you different info than the training effect over certain sessions. Also pretty nice, I think. Now, I will come to this, I'll come to it right away. What this one does is it compares automatically, and these z-scores, they are not z-scores from a different population, like a norm database. So here 14-year-olds, others. This is the client compared to the same client. So this is always the first qEEG you do compared to the last one. So if you've done 3 qEEGs, it will only compare from first to third one, so the last one. In the middle, it's not part of this calculation. So what do we see here? We see standard deviation, what has changed from first to last measurement. And we see here one thing that should really pop out, ZZ. And you see ZZ, yes, the last recording, so I left it in on purpose, is the client came in and said, I slept horrible. I'm feeling very tired and very itchy. And so the client kept touching ZZ while the recording. And I said, you know what, we'll leave it in. It's a nice example that it's not always going perfectly. And what can we also see? A lot of alpha 1, especially here, in the back area. So yeah, client was super tired and he stated that, so also fine. Of course, then you can either, as I taught you, or as I showed you, you can say, okay, let's throw this one out and retake something, then it will look different. Or you can just say, so you could throw out certain sessions. I'm not throwing out a qEEG session now, but retake a session, throw the other one out. Or you can just go with it and say, yeah, well, that's part of the game, so you were tired. You can also add to report, eyes open, eyes closed. So this is, as you see, with few clicks, a huge overview, multi-session analysis. Now, here at the bottom it says Session Pro, because I said add to report, and there is no studio opening up. Remember, usually there is a studio opening up. We need to press Session Pro. The buttons might change a little bit, of course. This looks very empty, and there's a lot of stuff here. We will change this a little bit so it looks a little cleaner, but it's rather straightforward. What do we want? We want a report, but it says active report and history. Let's press active report. No report. So you need to press on history. Here. I said with the training effect, add to report. Then I press with the relative amplitude, add to report, the ZZ SMR training, add to report, and the brain maps. So all you have to do is now create new report. Now, what is it asking? It's quite simple. Based on new elements, well, all elements are new, or based on all elements. Let's say on all elements. Voila, here, active report. And now it will say, okay, you want a PDF preview, and I think you guys are used to that. Yeah, sure, why not? And you see, now we have a graph here, we have this graph, everything that I added. And of course, as you're used to, let's session overview table, let's get rid of that, remove it. And here in between, I like a text and say, we of course need to click, hello, I am a text box. And then we can press PDF preview, and here we go. Hello, I am a text box, and we threw this table out. So I think pretty straightforward. Save changes. So always look for blue buttons. Blue buttons, they mean they really do something. Save changes. So we have an active report and we have history. If you now go back, continue, and you say, I want to add this one. See, I didn't throw out the first session. It kind of asks you over and over again with, do you want to use all sessions? Add to report. And this is now where I can go to Session Pro and say history. If I scroll down, report with 6 elements. And this is what I just added. And this is now when I say create new report, where I can say based on all elements. So it will include the preview ones and the new one, or just based on new elements, what I just added. Based on new elements. And you see now he just takes the one I just added. If I say history, create new report based on all elements. Now you see we have the other ones. Yes, we will improve this overview, but the idea is that you can create multi-session analysis and save it as, yeah, this is, I think, a nice arrangement. And then later, if you feel like, this could also be pretty cool, but maybe I just want to use these elements, you have the choice to have different reports you can create. It looks a little complicated, but at the end, if you click it a few times, it is really not complicated. So what have we learned? We can use automatically mark artifacts. This will create this super nice overview. You kind of gotta get used to it a little bit. Use your mouse wheel. And yes, so I will return to my slides because I know the time is moving rapidly. So we now know how to use the training effect. As I showed you, the training effect here gives you a pretty good impression. And in the beginning I said, why is here barely a training effect? This one is huge value. We would have to look into this. Can be the person being very thrilled, maybe taking medication, I cannot tell you. But overall, if we kind of ignore this one, this is not a dramatic training effect, and this is kind of going very, very well. Well, remember here we did ZZ, and here we can see this quite nicely. ZZ training protocol, and then we switched. So maybe the new protocol still needs a little bit of time to, well, really improve, to really make sense to the brain. Could be an interpretation. We don't have to overinterpret here, but this is also something with the multi-session training effect analysis. Gives you a pretty nice impression that this seems to be a strong episode, but there could have been a break in between. There could have been a change in different coaching, therapy, whatever. So you also got to keep that in mind. So the training effect gives you a pretty good impression. Then the relative amplitude is what we checked out today. the overview of the protocols, the bar values. So bar values, very important. This cannot, it's not only an amplitude. Bar value means if you have theta beta ratio, this will here down there be a smaller number. So it also displays this. And before and after qEEG. And of course, you can create a report. So it looks maybe complicated, but it's quite straightforward. Now, computer mouse, as I said, use your mouse wheel. You can scroll with it, you can click and even double click. And whenever you feel lost here and you zoom in with your mouse wheel, double click your mouse wheel, it will rescale. So whenever you're lost, double click your mouse wheel. Double and hold your mouse wheel, you can zoom in, okay? Left side, use your mouse wheel and scroll, it will also change. Here down there, it will also change. So really use your mouse wheel, please. It's very nice to orientate yourself. Now, the multi-session analysis, sorry, it's German. Analysis, it will, the update will be available next or in 2 weeks, so within November. So this is going to be very cool for you. Please try out. But there's more. I know we're running out of time, so I'm going fast. But this update is very amazing. Now there's more. There's an update for the Focus Master. I know hopefully everybody loves the Focus Master. We really do. So the Focus Master deserved an update. And as you can see now, for guys who know, for people who know the Focus Master, usually there were 6 environments to choose, and there are 3 new ones. So let's check them out. There's top left, there's a nice castle. So, and even you see more characters. So you can also now play a knight. Still, you can use the monk and you can use whoever you want in any world. Now there is the bay, the, well, nice beach. And there is a swamp. So 3 new environments with new characters that you can combine. So I think your clients are really going to love it. Our clients, they were pretty amazed by it and they really enjoyed testing it for the last couple of weeks and months. So this will also come out. Yeah, thank you for the applause. So this will also be, of course, as always, included in your plan, and it will be there available in the next couple of weeks. There's a winter special. So automatically, of course, you need to do the update, but automatically there will be, here you see nice candy bars in the 2 winter worlds, the Viking worlds. So for winter time, it will automatically switch to that appearance. And here also you see some candy bars in the background. So we thought it might be cute. And a lot of our clients said, hey, this is pretty cool, little eye blink. So also maybe you can play a little search game with your clients if they spot it. Now, there is more, guys. This is a long time we worked on. You remember the NeuroRacer? Well, the last update when it came out, it was roughly a month or 2 months ago, and people gave us a lot of positive feedback. They love the thrill of racing. They love the motorical skill set you need for that. So clients in all ages, they really like the NeuroRacer. So thanks to our programmers, there are 2 new worlds, and maybe they look a little familiar. You see this world here and this. Hey, this mountain is familiar. This is the Focus Master world, one of those environments, and this is the pirate world. And a lot of clients said it would be cool if we could race through the worlds of the other games. This would be a pretty amazing thing. And so yes, our programmers made it happen. So now you can, with the next update, also will be in the next couple of weeks, you can race through known environments of other games. Yeah, it was pretty cool, and we tested it and everybody said, wow, this, sometimes I didn't really announce it, I just chose the environment, and then clients noticed and said, isn't it the same as the Focus Master Monk guy? So this is pretty cool. This is also part of the update. So you can race in different games basically. Next webinar. Yes, thanks for thumbs up. Next webinar, guys, this is also so nice. We've been testing this feature for a long time, and the webinar will be in December. And what will we show? Maybe there will be a better name, but we call it Studio Dashboard. And remember, when you do a qEEG recording and create an auto report, it pops out several categories like focus score, theta, focus score, alpha 1, alpha 2. And this, the overview, usually shows you a different view. It usually is pretty empty. So let's say here you go into a session, it looks like this at the moment, right? And then you say generate auto report. Well, now you see here it will automatically calculate several scores like calmness, focus, creativity. It will give you FFT analysis and give you recommendations for protocols that are also included in the BrainAssitant. And even cooler, I know I can't stop, right? Even cooler, here what we see is CPT commission error, CPT omission error, Stroop reaction time. Yes, in our flows, there's another webinar I already did. There are games with there are cognitive tests with an Xbox controller, the CPT reaction test or VCPT, and the Stroop. And now we created categories here like focus, that this bar here, it reacts to certain focus scores, like EEG data, focus score alpha, etc., and also combines it with, for example, commission errors, with reaction time, and this then also influences the entire score. So we tested it for a long time. It makes it also very nice to give your clients an overview when you print out a report. So there will also be a new report featuring these with explanation text and then recommendations that you can, with one click, create and hand out to your clients. This also all, of course, included in the BrainAssitant. Since you contribute, we contribute, of course. And this has been a lot of work for the last months. And this will be the topic of the next webinar. And it looks already very nice. And if you use it, you can hover over this stuff. And then there's a pop-up box that will also give you more description, more details. It's very nice. And this will be on December 12th. So this year, this will be the last webinar for this year, obviously, and hopefully you guys will join. I know, a lot of info. I try to keep it short, but it's always so many topics. Are there questions? You can use the chat. And of course you can, once you try, you can also write an email. Yeah, you mentioned that we should use the P9, P10 reference. This is possible when we use the 1924 channel cap. However, during the training, we use only one reference. What should we choose in this situation? Nothing. Then it will use the default reference. It's smart enough for that. So good question. And it's smart enough. So if you go on session overview, as you can see here, it says default reference. And it is smart if I say reference P9, P10 if possible. Well, if you never used P9, P10, so you do ZZ SMR training with one single reference, then it says, well, I don't have P9, P10 if possible, so it's not possible, then I will stick with the default one. Yeah. So basically, if you use a cap, it will re-reference. If you use single training, well, no problem for you. Hopefully, I answered the question. Yeah, perfect. Makes sense, right? Well, as always, thank you so much for being here. This new feature is one of the largest features in the last time that we did, and it is very, very nice. It is very, well, cool to use. Here's a tiny little sneak peek over the new report. Here, this is how it will look like. You will see here cognition, and of course we can work on the names. It will say focus, and if you say, focus score, I kind of want to check it out, you can just press this, click. It will jump to focus score, and then if you want to return, here bottom it says overview, click. And then you can even jump back. So even this feature, we implemented this one. This will make it super comfortable also to go through and report with somebody. And if you say, I want to check this one out, you can just click on it, jump to it, check out the brain map, and then jump back. So yes, a lot of work, but it will be pretty cool. Thank you so much for being here and also supporting us and creating all of this, making this possible. As you know yourself, or maybe don't know, yes, thanks for the applause. This is a ton of work, and so we're always happy to share this with you guys. Thanks for supporting us. Bye-bye.